Happening right now, brush fire shutting down highways and forcing a school evacuation in Southern California. A fire estimated to be just about 2 acres right now. It started near Highway 33 in West Ventura County. High winds have sparked several smaller fires throughout the day today, and that school was evacuated earlier this afternoon as a precaution.
Well, some traffic troubles to warn you about tonight. Getting in and out of downtown Las Vegas may be a little tough this week. Chopper 13 fast and first near the Spaghetti Bowl tonight. Southbound I-15 will shut down between Washington and the 95 from 10 until 5 a.m. Thursday morning. Crews are installing large digital signs as part of Project Neon. In addition, several freeway ramps will be closed from 8 p.m. Wednesday to 6 a.m. Thursday. The list includes the 95 off-ramp to MLK, northbound I-15 off-ramp to MLK, and the Washington D Street on-ramp to southbound 15.
Developing tonight, a growing number of people are demanding answers about the ambush in Niger that led to the deaths of 4 American service members. Now, a senior intelligence officer is telling ABC News how the mission went from routine to risky. The original reconnaissance mission was deemed so low risk the American soldiers in Niger didn't have armored vehicles or drone support when they set off on October 3rd. But less than 24 hours later, a senior military source tells ABC News that a new set of orders to take a top ISIS and al-Qaeda target in Africa changed everything.
The patrol came under attack from approximately 50 enemy.
The ambush lasted approximately 1 hour before the Pentagon says the team requested support.
Within an hour, French Mirage jets arrived on station. And then later that afternoon, French attack helicopters arrived on station.
During the firefight, 2 U.S. soldiers were wounded, 3 were killed, and 1, Sergeant LaDavid Johnson, was listed as missing. His widow, Maisha, says she still has questions about her husband's death.
Why it took them 48 hours to find my husband? Why couldn't I see my husband?
Staff Sergeant Dustin Wright's family is also wanting answers, saying in a statement, "Our hope through this tragedy is to discern where, if any, mistakes were made and to fix them going forward." President Trump has yet to answer questions on the specifics of the ambush.
Mr. President, did you authorize the mission to be there?
Members of the Senate Armed Services Committee are expected to ask questions about the ambush during a classified briefing tomorrow.
Arizona Senator Jeff Flake made a bombshell announcement today. The Republican revealed he won't run for re-election in 2018.
I rise today with no small measure of regret. Regret because of the state of our disunion. Regret because of the disrepair and destructiveness of our politics.
And Flake says he has children and grandchildren to answer to, so he won't be complicit or silent. Flake also called out the president, saying reckless, outrageous, and undignified behavior has become excused as telling it like it is. He also says if this behavior was on display from dominant Democrats, Republicans wouldn't accept it. Tricia?
All right, from Contact 13 tonight, it is one of the most difficult crimes to detect. Card skimmers, especially at gas pumps. But now a new smartphone app could tell you if there's one nearby. The app is called Skimmer Scanner, and it can help detect a Bluetooth skimmer in the area. Well, back in March, the FBI told 13 Action News a major credit and debit card scheme was busted in Las Vegas with over 20 people being charged. The new smartphone app could help you stay one step ahead of the criminals. The app is only available for Android users right now. And a warning to parents and grandparents out there. Fisher-Price is pulling these infant motion seats from shelves because they could catch fire. 63,000 have been recalled so far. Dozens of people say the motor has overheated on their baby chair. So if you have one of these, you're urged to stop using it immediately and contact Fisher-Price for a full refund. But no injuries have been reported at this time.
A lot of people are cleaning up right now around the U.S. after they were pounded by severe weather. This is some video out of Spartanburg, South Carolina. Look at this. These storms were rolling across the southeast with high winds and heavy rain. And along with the severe weather, 2017 is also going into the record books because of several destructive wildfires. It's all raising the polarizing question, is it due to climate change or just part of the Earth's normal cycles? Scripps reporter Chris Welsh looks at a new report.
Take a look. This is some of the damage from storms that unleashed fierce winds over North and South Carolina. Small planes overturned at this airport in Charlotte. The storms knocked down large trees and flooded some areas, including homes.
At least 1.5 feet of water just rushed in.
And nearby parking lots where cars were overwhelmed.
Wave of water washed over the hood and stalled out.
While damage from these most recent storms is bad, it's nothing like the catastrophic destruction we've seen in recent months with the hurricanes along the Gulf Coast and in Puerto Rico and the wildfires in California. A new report from the Government Accountability Office says the U.S. government has spent more than $350 billion over the last 10 years on disaster relief. This year's damage is already adding up to more than $50 billion. Regardless of where you stand on the issue, the report blames climate change and says the U.S. isn't doing enough to plan for the impact and must take the risk seriously. It comes as the Trump administration is at odds with climate change, a message he's made clear since the campaign.
Global warming and that, a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax.
Just this week, the EPA prevented 3 scientists from taking part in a climate change debate. And earlier this year, the U.S. withdrew from the Paris Climate Accord. Scott Pruitt, the head of the EPA, is planning to cut the budget by 30%, something not lost on environmental proponents.
He's trying to keep the agency from doing its job, from protecting public health and from protecting our environment.
Adding to the debate, the GAO report says it's difficult to isolate the cost of disasters directly due to climate change. Either way, it estimates if nothing is done within the next 3 decades, the U.S. will begin to spend $35 billion every year dealing with this.
And that was Chris Welch reporting. Well, looking ahead, Game 1 of the World Series is tonight. The LA Dodgers are taking on the Houston Astros at Dodger Stadium. The last time the Dodgers made it to the big stage was almost 3 decades ago in 1988. The wait has been less for the Astros. They made it to the World Series back in 2005. And coming up, we'll tell you how tonight's game may end up in the record books.
Indeed, for a very interesting reason, too. The Vegas Golden Knights are back on the ice tonight against the Chicago Blackhawks at T-Mobile Arena. They're trying to overcome some adversity. Star goalie Marc-Andre Fleury is still injured, and his backup, Malcolm Subban, is also dealing with some injuries from last game. Now it's up to the third stringer, Oscar Dansk, to step up. Puck drops at 7 p.m. Tickets are still available starting at $89. New at 5, a man walks away from this mangled pickup truck. Hear why police say a craving got the best of him. Plus,
done better with a screen in between, like texting.
Millennials and cell phones. Is the addiction to technology ruining a generation?
And we're now getting a much better look at how much money Nevada has raked in from recreational marijuana sales.
A cool down with big wind on the way in your 13th first alert forecast, and I'm tracking it all for you. Coming up.
New tonight, it's hard to believe from this picture that the driver of that pickup truck survived a bad rollover crash. Police say the 29-year-old lost control last night after he dropped his lighter while trying to light a cigarette, then became distracted looking for it. After swerving into the wrong lane, he overcorrected and rolled down a steep embankment, taking out several trees. He's recovering tonight at the hospital, but his injuries were not life-threatening.
New at 5 tonight. Many of today's teens spend way too much time on their phones, and it could be hurting their health. 13 Action News anchor Dana Roselli looks into whether smartphones are destroying a generation.
I've never gone like a day without my phone. It's just like constantly always there.
It's a common sight and sound among millennials. Heads down, eyes locked on cell phones.
I don't think I know one person who isn't like that, who doesn't just check it a lot.
She's right. A study found millennials check their phones 150 times a day. That's just over once every 5 waking minutes. And all that screen time is taking a toll on young people.
The more you use your cell phone, the more anxiety and depression that you reported.
Dr. Tim Osberg from Niger University conducted a study last year of more than 300 students. He tested to see how cell phone usage affects students' health.
I hope this bodes well for exam 2 scores. The more self-reported addiction to cell phone that the student had, the more they were depressed and anxious.
Osberg says one of the causes of that relationship is sleep deprivation.
Students who use cell phones a lot, they report that they take them to bed with them.
As teens become more connected to their devices, the rates of depression and sleep deprivation are rising, especially among teen girls. From 2012 to 2015, a study found a 50% increase in girls with depressive symptoms. Among boys, that number rose 21%.
Increasingly over the last few years, they're not in face-to-face conversations.
Because I'm better with a screen in between, like texting. I feel like most of my greatest friendships are the people that I text all the time.
Dana Roselli, 13 Action News.
And with teens becoming more dependent on their phones, one way to immediately reduce the risk is at night, turn the ringer off and put the phone outside of arm's reach. This will improve the quality of sleep for teens and the amount of time they spend resting.